Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera. My name is Muhammad Alfiq Iman Besan. My group mate is Muhammad Iqmal bin Jamali, Putri Nur Syahira binti Idris, Putri Iwana binti Kamruzaman, and Nur Izzah binti Muhammad Noh. Today, we will present about cost and financing of mosque project designed to build a team building. Next. This is a subtitle that we present later. Next. Firstly, introduction. The aim of this project is to design a green mosque that can achieve a sustainable building that criteria hence lead to cost saving in long-term conditions, such as monthly electric bill. Green building encourage the efficiency use of water, energy solar, wind energy, and other resource. There are three building technologies they will present and implement in this project. Firstly, solar photovoltaic technology, rainwater harvesting technology, and lastly, passive infrared receiver sensor light technology. Next, the objective of this project to design a green building mosque that can achieve the sustainable building and cost efficiency in long-term condition. Second, to provide a cost and financial advance to a company management on the project that can have been designed. Next, significance of study. There are two significance of study. Firstly, to practice the student on organizing the range of process and technology involved in design a green building with relevant specification. Next, to give the overview to student how to select the effective and suitable technologies that will use in this project according to the company.
Life cycle cost. It used to incorporate economic and environmental elements. It emphasizes a long-term life cycle perspective and combat management tendency to focus on the short term. It can evaluate the overall cost incurred throughout the life cycle of a product or service, from the acquisition of raw materials to disposal, and lastly can assess all economic outcomes including costs and revenues. LCC characteristic. Product lifecycle costing involves tracing of costs and revenue of a product over several calendar periods throughout its life cycle. Each phase of the product lifecycle forces different threats and opportunities that may require different strategic action. Product lifecycle may be extended by finding new users or by increasing the consumption of the present users. Product lifecycle costing traces research, design and development costs and total magnitude of these costs for each individual product and compare with product revenue. Step of product lifecycle costing. Market research, specification, design, prototype manufacture, development, tooling, manufacture, distribution, product support, and lastly decommissioning. Benefit of product lifecycle costing. It leads to yearly general income or cheaper costs than may otherwise be considered. In order to maximize the return on a product, a number of elements must be addressed. A more accurate and realistic estimation of revenue and cost within a specific life cycle stage should lead to better decisions. It can encourage long-term rewards rather than short-term rewards. It provides a methodology for calculating total incremental costing during the life of a product. Life cycle costing process. First, LCC analysis planning. Second, life costing analysis preparation. And lastly, implementing and monitoring. For LCC analysis planning, it has 4 stages, which is development of plan, select LCC model, implementing LCC model, recording and reviewing LCC result. For life cycle cost calculation, this is the formula.
These engineering economy technologies. So I will present to you about the work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure is a project management approach for completing a very complicated multi-step project. This is the method of dividing a major undertaking into a smaller portion and finishing them more quickly and effectively. So, as you can see here, the work breakdown structure figure that have been scaled out. The first one is preliminary and groundy work, and then earthwork. The third one is for substructure work, and then superstructure. Then we go to the finishes. Next, finishing and furnishing, and then the next part is for service, which is for public access facility and toilet services. Next is green tech purpose, which is we put the majority of our budget in this project to improve the building by put the green tech technology inside the building, which is the most. And then a few budget for external work. This is the analysis of the cost analysis. So as you can see here, 12% of the total construction cost we will be used for preliminary cost, which is 12% times by 1,973,500. So the cost for preliminary is 219,000. And then for the design cost, it's about 10% of the construction cost, and thus the construction cost will be achieved around 1.8 million.
Cash flow diagram. Calculation for inflows 1 million for initial cost plus 1 million for bank loan, and we got total 2 million for this construction. Calculation for outflows 1.8 million for construction cost divided with 2 years, which is our project duration, and we got 900,000 ringgit.
Analysis to make sure it's very clear, which is we have to discover what is debt and what is the equity. So debt's definition is amount of money that owned by the business to another entity. While for the equity is the amount of money generated by a business by issuing. So the debt is for loan fund and the equity is on fund. The reflect of this for debt is obligation and the equity is ownership. As you can see here, the term also it's for the short term for debt and long term for the equity, and the risk of for debt is less than the equity. As you can see, the term loan and debenture bond is just for debt, and then we can use the equity for shares and stock. Collateral, it is necessary for debt. It is necessary to obtain the loan, but money may also be generated in other ways. While for equity, is not very necessary and not required. The nature of return, it will be get from the interest if we are using debt. When we are using equity, the nature of return is given by dividend. And for the cost reduction, when opposed to equity investor, the debt at a low risk. When for debt, when for the equity, when business fail, they often have a little resource for their investment. Status of the holder for debt is for lender, and then the status of holder equity is proprietors. Profit retention assists in the retention of greater revenues inside the business for the debt, but for the equity, the higher company earning are, the more is must share with stockholder. Financial leverage, allowable interest deduction help to reduce the business tax, since the smaller the tax revenue, the less tax business has to pay. While for the equity, in addition, dividend paid to equity investors not to tax deductible, and thus must be paid from after tax earning. So we discover we need to get around 2 million in fund. Our debt with UOB bank is around 50% of the entire cost of the project. The UOB will be lend us a rate with 6.48% and we will sell around 60% of our share to the public and Samdabi. So for the type of project finance analysis equity, for example, is for venture capitalist, and then the crowdfunding angel investor. But for that, it is traditionally bank loan and small business administration. Next, merchant cash advance, and the last one is a line of credit business or credit card. So the calculation of project finance, it's around, we have to make it equally regarding to the source what we already have. So around 50% we are using for debt and around 50% for the equity.
Calculation of debt. Interest 5.6% with 2 years of loan duration, and we got RD 0.057. For calculation of equity, we use this formula. RF, which is risk-free rate, with 3%, correlation with the market 2%, and lastly, expected return from the market 10%. And we got ER, which is equity, with 0.0314. And lastly, calculation of WACC. RE, we use this value from this answer, and equity 50% with debt 50%. RD from the answer, and 10 and T 10%, and we got this value for WACC.
About relevant study in solar. According to Malaysia Energy Information Hub, state that the electricity demand per capita kilowatt hour per person has increased from 626 kilowatt hour per person in 1980 to 4,549 kilowatt hour per person in 2016. Malaysia is subjected to high temperature located close to equator with daily solar radiation as high as 4,500 kilowatt hour per meter square throughout the year. Solar photovoltaic PV cell, which are typically flat plate, can convert solar light into electricity. A grid research found that the 73% of respondents will invest in renewable energy such as PV panel. The expensive installation price, on the other hand, is the serious obstacle to PV installation in Greece. Next. Light sensor. Lighting is the most frequent and by definition the most consistent type of demand. According to European study, interior lighting provide for around 40% of overall power use in medium and large building. Industrial nations such as Japan and Taiwan, the uses of light in conjunction with motion sensor is still unusual, same as Indonesia. Without the usage of motion sensor, total electric power consumption during this time period was 55.576 kilowatt hour. Lastly, relevant study in water harvesting. In order to avoid and minimize the impact of water shortage, the use of rainwater has been widely acknowledged as a reliable option. Recent years, there has been a substantial rise in research on rainwater harvesting system, RWHS, particularly on method and treatment system. RWHS is collecting and storage rainwater for use rather than letting it run off. South Korea research discovered that RWHS can prevent floods by up to 10%. The introduction of RWHS is various part of the New South Wales. Australia has resulted in significant water saving from the main supply even in very small area. Melbourne neighborhood where rainwater tank can reduce network pipe, diameter and operational expense by up to 18% and 53% respectively. Financial institution. United Overseas Bank Malaysia UOB was incorporated in 1993 but has had a presence in Malaysia since 1951. UOB Malaysia is rated among the top bank in Malaysia with a long-term AAA rating from Rating Agency Malaysia. Malaysia charts based on loan amount and loan period. The table show UOB Malaysia unsecured plan loan feature for business.
Without further ado, I would like to proceed with the conclusion. So, this project is proposed to meet the requirements to design a new project in building up a green building that our company may invest in. A proposal of building up a MOS is prepared in regards to engineering economy syllabus, which include WBS, RTC, and CFD. Not just that, the WACC and CAPM have been included too in this proposal. On the other side, relevant studies have been taken into account as well. The new MOS is being upgraded from basic elements of building construction to a green building concept consisting of three main technologies, which are solar photovoltaic, rainwater harvesting, and passive infrared receiver sensor light, all in the purpose of reducing electrical bill. The whole total funds needed for this project is 2 million, which 50% from it covers the equity and another half covers debt. UOB Bank will be the financial institution involved for this project proposal. And that's a wrap from all of us. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.